Okay, I got stream most. Let's go over to Ubisoft's event, okay? Because it was, and we'll come back to the super chats and Streamlabs afterwards. After this one, let's go over to Ubisoft. We already started talking about it.
I mean, it was an amazing event. It had one great game, and then everything else. It didn't matter that you sat there for 55 minutes and had to watch a bunch of shit. You know, you got that one great game, just like Summer Game Fest. It was a great presentation.
Well, no, I mean, there were two games, right? Oh, okay. So here's the thing. All right, Sean, I put my video up, and then I went over. I was like, oh, Sean's video's up. Let me see what he thinks about it. Did you cut the thing off before Avatar came on?
Avatar?
Wait, what? No.
You didn't finish the Ubisoft event before you reacted to it?
I got to
Ease up the rabbits.
He's joking, right?
Ease was talking.
How did you miss Avatar? It was like 5 minutes before him.
Am I supposed to care about this?
He presented it after he talked. He presented it after he talked, Nate.
Oh.
He's like, here's one more thing.
So Sean did miss.
There was one more thing.
Oh my god!
And you know what? I wouldn't have given a fuck. I mean,
really?
it looks cool, but I've never even seen the Avatar movie. Like, I'm sorry that.
What do you mean it looks cool? You didn't even see it.
I got it pulled up right now.
Oh,
Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
It was like a cinematic kind of trailer for it.
Yeah,
like, they didn't sit down and play gameplay. They were just like, Avatar game coming 2022.
Okay, is Avatar still relevant? Is there a new movie coming out?
There's 4 movies coming out.
There's 4 movies still coming out for it,
and it's still considered like one of the best movies.
It became #1 grossing all time again.
I'll admit,
after Endgame overtook it.
I didn't get an Avatar like that either, Sean. Don't worry.
I mean,
it's extremely
overhyped. Best movie of all time.
I watched it twice, and that was kind of.
I thought the whole point of Avatar was that it looked pretty, but that was it. Like it was, you know.
I've never even seen the movie.
Decent filmed. It looks great.
So why the fuck do you care, Nate? You just like to bust my balls.
Why did you react to a thing you didn't even see through to the completion, Sean? That is
because
an unfinished reaction. That is an unfinished reaction.
You're gonna watch my video because I did finish it, unlike RGT85.
It's like reviewing a game without beating it, Sean.
Did it change your impressions of this presentation?
I think the engine is interesting, but it also feels retro. Something about advertising your new tech with an old movie franchise was really weird.
There's no Snowdrop engine for it.
I want to talk about Far Cry 6 because there was something off about that game for me. It just looked weird.
It's not just me, right? Okay, because I'm looking at this thing.
Those models. There was something weird looking about.
I think they look great. I'm not even
know what it was.
I thought they looked great.
No, I think you're on something, MVG, because when they showed the gameplay for it original, like the gameplay reveal, like the character models just didn't go with the environments almost. It was very, you know what it kind of reminded me of was the whole thing with Prince of Persia. Yeah, because my issue with Prince of Persia was like the character models seem off compared to the environments. I'm getting the same thing here with Far Cry a bit.
Yeah, same. I wonder if the budget for this game isn't as large as we think it is, and they haven't got like the A game devs on the project maybe. But yeah, there's just something that's a little off about the whole character models thing for me.
I don't know. I think there's also like some texturing issues they showed. Like they keep showing off the crocodile pet with the gold tooth, but no one is talking about. You look at that crocodile, it looks like it doesn't have rendered skin on it. Like the scales, it's just like a flat, like weird pixelated, color splotches. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why they keep showing off something that doesn't look finished, especially like that one shot. I'm just burnt out on Far Cry at this point, right? Same. Far Cry 3 was what did so much for the series. It was well done. They had great villains, and ever since they've just tried to recreate how cool Voss has been, and they just keep with good actors in there. It's just
about Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon though.
I would love a Blood Dragon too. I would love.
We're getting Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. They're coming out with that. That was
okay. Yeah.
Well, there's an animated series or something
but
of it too.
But that's
part of the season pass.
I think just the main Far Cry games, like 4 was all right, but then we got to 5, and while the story is fine in 5, it started taking itself serious while still trying to have these silly undertones that it had from 3, and it just kept doing the same story over and over again. Here's this big bad guy who's either a leader, a dictator, a cultist, and it's saying that even if we have a great actor doing it for the 6th game, it's like you're showing me nothing new here with the Far Cry series, and I feel like they're doing the usual thing that they do with Assassin's Creed, that they do with all their other games. They make the same game over and
Speaking
over.
of
with a lot
Assassin's
different
Creed,
games.
you guys thought you were done with it. Nope. Going back for more.
I do want to say real quick, I don't know why Far Cry 5 pressed all the right buttons for me. I loved Far Cry 5. I bought it for $5 on a Black Friday sale and just absolutely loved it. So I'm super on board for 6. But you guys are right that it looks like Far Cry 5's engine. They just swapped out some character models. It's going to be the same exact gameplay. They're just going to replace some assets and stuff. But I mean, I'm buying it.
So how do you feel about them doing a whole nother thing? Like they said this is the first time they've done this for Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was already stupidly long, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So they're going to add more content, more expansions over the course of its second year. And they said that's the first time they've done that for an Assassin's Creed game. You going back, Jordan?
Game sold really well.
I will not be going back.
What is it specifically again?
They just said it was more content. They had what was it?
It said like the further adventures of Odin.
Some with Paris.
They went that's supposed to be that's the next one. I know they recently did the one where you go to Ireland, I believe, and I'm like, yeah, it looks cool with the druids and all that, but I'm not putting in the game again to continue that. And I really have to see what this Paris one offers once they show it off for me to go, okay, I'm interested enough. But honestly, I'm just looking forward to the next Assassin's Creed game, and I really hope that they have the team who went and did Immortals back on to make something on the level of what Odyssey was, because I didn't expect Odyssey to be as great as it was, and it overshadowed everything that Valhalla tried to do. So,
okay, all right. And then we had
when it's done, when everything comes out, I'm gonna buy it on sale for $5, and it's gonna be 1,000 hours of entertainment.
They showed Riders Republic again. I saw Riders Republic. It looks better than I thought it would be, but it's also like another live service game from Ubisoft. And I remember they mentioned a lot of this to their investors that they're going to push into that, and they're like, "Oh no, we're still going to do other games too." I'm seeing a lot of live service games, and I'm seeing a lot of updates to already established games right now with this presentation. So it's not
the major thing I said in my video. It was so weird that so much of it was like, look, we have a new character for Rainbow Six Siege, which came out 6 years ago, and now there's new cars coming to the crew too, and a new hero for Honor, which came out 3 years ago, 4 years. It's just one of those things where I'm like, man, you guys got any new ideas? Is it all DLC now? It was weird.
I do feel with Riders Republic though, there was something about I was like, okay, yeah, we've seen this game, it's cool, whatever. But when they showed off the snowboarding, I was like, does this kind of feel like Skate?
It looked better. It looked kind of like it looked sort of Tony Hawk like.
It looked like you were controlling, you're just kind of riding around and just doing tricks and grinding on
but you weren't losing momentum. You were jumping from rail to rail. It was like a more arcadey SSX, if that makes sense, because
pulled my attention there for sure for a minute. I was like, okay, hold on.
What about the first person biking?
I don't know about that.
That looked a little weird. I was like, oh, I don't know. That looks kind of strange. And they have
just stick with the snowboarding.
They're parachuting around. They got the wings with rockets suits on, and they went flying down like the. What is this? It looks like it's going to be this MMO style extreme sports live service game.
I hope that there's some good streaming moments. I think there could be a lot of funny people, much like GTA Online, if you could get people together, and because people like racing on GTA, online. That's like a big thing that people will do. So I could see people getting really into that.
These companies are just trying to hit that big live service game. They're just trying to hit that. They're willing to put out 10 live service games. Just hope one of them's a home run, and that's it. That's worth it to them. I think Ubisoft's going to keep on trying. You know what? You just mentioned, you think the budget for Far Cry is a little lower this time? Guess where it's going? these live service games. One of them's got to work. Nate, what do you think about the Ubisoft press conference? Before we go to Mario Rabbids, outstanding. Mario Rabbids and Avatar, outstanding. Take those away. What do you think of it?
I mean,
basically 85% of the presentation.
85% of the presentation.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the focus on Rainbow Six Siege. The game has a base of 60 million players or had. So it's something that they're going to continue to lean into. They took that game from what looked like a flop into a huge success. And if it still has a very engaged base, you're going to keep going to it. So I understand why they did that. But overall, I think this presentation reflects the pandemic. This is what happens when you lose essentially a year of development time. You have to go back to smaller projects or projects that were already deep into development, and you had to make an E3 press conference with that. This is what you get. It was a safe presentation overall, not many surprises, but you lost a lot of development time. You can't come out like you would have done in previous years and say, look at this huge lineup of upcoming releases. This is what we have right now in a playable or a showable state. And I think under all these conditions, if this is the best Ubisoft could put forth, then they succeeded in their goal. Us as consumers, yeah, it wasn't the most exciting show, but I think all things considered, it was what it had to be.
Yeah.
It was solid for what it was, and for what the world could allow.
So
what you guys did we talk about Rainbow Six Extraction? I thought that was kind of cool.
We're about to go to that in a second. What were you about to say, quick?
I was going to say I agree with Nate, and I think honestly, because people were really asking me about it, and it was kind of upsetting me, was the pre-show. It was a waste of time. The whole it was just dull, and people were just like, "Do you think it was because of they just didn't have stuff to fill it? Like they claimed the time, but they realized, oh crap, we don't really have anything for it. Let's just show 5 minutes of a guy walking through, so you can see the render distance and blah 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 and all this stuff."
I don't know what the deal is with these publishers right now, because
it's so bad.
We just had Battlefield. They did an hour-long pre-stream that was just a countdown for like a 6-minute trailer. So I don't know what's going on with these companies. We don't need a 60-minute countdown. All right,
no,
we don't need
it. Really don't.
It was like 2 hours, wasn't it? It was like 2 hours of slow static shots of leads and stuff.
Just start the live stream an hour before the time and just let it go down. So it's still at that right time, but let the timer play beforehand. I'm getting so annoyed by all the stuff doing it recently. One company does, and every company's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Yep.
Why? What's the point?
They must have some concurrent numbers or something where it was like, this is our biggest stream ever. We wasted your time.
But
the Battlefield one, it racked up about 200,000 subs on that channel, when people were waiting for it. So there's a reason why they do that stuff.
That's true.
Yeah. Ugh, man, I'm just gonna stream a countdown timer once a day the rest of the year and see what happens.
Every time it counts down, it's just thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, see ya.
Of course, down too.
Six Extraction did look good, but the weirdest thing was that they did that full CG trailer that was really great, and then the full gameplay trailer afterward. That was really weird that was like a 17-minute segment for one game. I was like, this is really weird.
Well, I assume that's coming up. That's going to be something they're going to probably focus on pretty heavily here pretty soon.
It comes out in September.
Yeah, so that makes sense that they would be like, all right, let's show a bunch of this because it's out in a couple of months or something. And I mean, it looked like Rainbow Six mixed with Aliens, so all right, I guess sure.
I feel like some of us could play it together, and I think it'd be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it's teams of up to 3, so that could be interesting.
I just wish that they separated it a bit more from Rainbow Six Siege. I just wish they kind of went maybe third person with it and kind of did a couple.
I miss Rainbow Six Vegas.
Person.
They already have a first person. They already have a first person shooting type of. I know this is different type of first person, but it was just. I mean, I'm gonna play the game, but it would have just been nice if you can actually see your character and cover system and stuff.
Well, it's also weird that it has all the Siege characters. This Siege DLC as a standalone.
I miss Vegas too.
I thought Vegas was great. I used to play on the 360, the Xbox Live. That was my go-to.
Awesome.
One of my go-to games for a year was Rainbow Six Vegas. So
Sean, what'd you think of Rocksmith, Sean? Rocksmith Plus.
Interesting concept.
Interesting concept. Okay.
I like how you don't have to buy anything additional. It works with electric and
I think that was pretty important actually for this whole thing. Did you see what they did with their cell phone? They put it on the couch and they were like, it'll listen. It'll use the microphone on your phone to listen to you play your guitar.
Phones to tune guitars and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a cool idea to do it that way.
Yeah, it's very diverse. I do wonder how much nickel and diming they're going to do with it. That's definitely a concern.
It's a subscription service.
Yeah, it's a monthly thing, but
monthly fee.
Are there going to be tiers and stuff? Are there normally tiers?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they've done this before.
MVG, what'd you think of Rocksmith Plus? The idea of it?
Well, I mean, I play guitar and I want to check it out. I like Rocksmith back in the day. Like I was a fan of it. I always had issues with like input lag and stuff, right? 'Cause for some reason, they could just never nail it. Get that delay right. But I'm going to give this a go. I think it's interesting, and yeah, I mean, I play guitar, but I haven't played for years. Honestly, like I barely pick it up anymore. So this is a good way for me to get back into it.
I'm curious how, because they keep pointing out it's very community driven. It looks like you're going to be able to post messages back and forth, post challenges and all of this. So, I mean, it could be a good way to actually, if it's legitimately a good way to learn how to play guitar, you know what, the subscription service might actually be worth it depending on the price rather than try to get lessons and all, if it can actually teach you well enough. So, I mean, we'll have to see.
A lot of those things online nowadays to where, you know, you can go to Songster if you can read tabs, and tabs are easy. So
yeah. I think the point is just kind of start from the ground up though. But this is like one of these things. It doesn't obviously just apply to gamers. Like this is stuff that people from all over, you know, could end up using, or teachers end up using it for their kids in class too, perhaps. Like
that's a good point.
Possibilities.
If they do that, that's lazy, and they need to take some of their earnings as a teacher and give it to Ubisoft.
Oh no, I mean like if you're like a
oh my god,
if you're like a parent and you're trying to help your kid out who's like going and
for sure.
You're like, oh, I'll get you this Rocksmith thing for a couple months, see if it helps you out, you know. I mean, and it's disguised like a video game, obviously. So
if it's cheaper than paying for a music teacher, as someone who taught drums, like you get paid a good amount hourly. Like if it's cheaper than having to pay someone hourly, parents will probably want to take it.
Yeah, and let's talk about this Mario Rabbids game, because Nintendo leaked it out. Like that got leaked in the morning, which is hilarious. Because
I was asleep, so I didn't see it.
Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope for Nintendo Switch, Pro Controller compatible as well.
Yep.
What? People were kind of bugging with that whole.
That was so funny.
Pro graphics. It's like no, it's the regular Switch.
That's HAC 00101.
Now people just seeing stuff here. They're like, look how shiny that wall and texture looks there. That has to be Switch Pro.
I know it was good, man.
The extra shininess of Mario's big nose is definitely Switch Pro caliber. You know?
No, these are base Switch assets.
It's not like games don't grow over time as developers figure out more
I don't know, you think
hardware.
These visuals do look nice. You know what? I wouldn't mind if this Switch Pro thing was actually real. This got an enhancement patch or something. Like this is a game that could look really good if that was the case. If we end up in that alternate timeline,
sure,
in like 5 months or so.
In that alternate timeline, that's one
like
thing.
4 months.
But we have to view it in the current real timeline, not in the off-split timeline. And it looks good for a base Switch game, so we should be focusing on that, not the alternate reality.
We should be focusing on when this game is coming out because it's an early alpha.
Yeah, these screenshots.
Can you explain that, MVG?
These screenshots are 720p too, right? MVG?
That sounds like 12 months minimum, probably 18.
Okay.
Show it so far out then, just to have something.
Maybe holiday next year. We'll see.
2022. Yeah, it does say release.
I think it's before that.
Do you now?
March. I like March.
Summer.
July-ish.
Yeah, maybe summer. I think the original one came out August, so maybe around that time.
I think it was August. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it
came August or September, around there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever it's ready, whenever it's ready. I just want this game to be amazing. Whenever
it looks good though.
It's the only game with personality, like real personality. What was that Writers game? That's like fake personality, it's like me, like fucking people that I'm not gonna diss people, but that overhype, like I'm more excited for this than I actually am, sort of thing. That's the whole thing I got from that game. Like every character in that game was just like a Twitch streamer turned up to 1,000, but it turned up to 1,000, but like this game actually had personality. It actually looked, it didn't feel cookie cutter like a lot of Ubisoft games, unfortunately, nowadays are.
It looks very good. I mean, they showed some gameplay for like a couple of minutes there. They showed like this field of movement where they were just running around, I guess, for a set amount of time, or they had so much energy, I guess they could run around and they do actions. So they said they wanted to push the tactics genre even further, and that's kind of where they left it. So I'm curious if we're going to see if this game will get its own like direct style showcase, months down the line, and they actually sit down and play it. Because these games, like tactics-based games, could probably take up a 15-minute thing on its own, just showcasing it. If they were able to show us Paper Mario for as long as they were, they can show us this game for like 10 or 15 minutes. But visually, it looked great. I like the idea of them expanding to the point where we're going from planet to planet now, which means we could probably get some like really different looking environments. I mean, the first one, they did have different settings, but it still felt, kind of like, okay, it was obviously on the same planet. This, like, they could do some crazy stuff, right?
Yeah. It feels very Mario Galaxy, whereas like the first game, with different kingdoms and stuff was nice, but this felt so Mario Galaxy-ish to me, and I loved that. Like, obviously, Rosalina being in there and stuff, that little, like, Starby guy, but also, man, it looked more like they were going to just, like, throw you onto an ocean planet or throw you into the desert. I don't know. I'm very excited for it.
I think it was the prettiest Mario trailer I've seen thus far. Like, it was just beautiful. Like, it made me really excited about that, like, the animated movie or whatever we keep hearing about. Like, oh my God, I just got so excited, like seeing all of them. I was like, look at them, they're so beautiful. Like, I never thought I'd look at a freaking Mario character and be like, wow, look how cute his eyes are. Like, I don't know.
What's interesting is some of these screenshots I'm looking at, I don't see like wait, hold on, let me see. I'm trying to see if they have, no, they do. Okay. So they do still have the same kind of exploration where you have the disc running in front and everyone runs after it behind it there. But like looking at these screenshots, the first one was really good visually when it came out, because it's a Snowdrop engine on the Switch in like the first year or whatever. Yeah, so that was pretty good. Like, that was really, this looks even better somehow. So
it's 4 years optimization with the engine, familiarity with the hardware itself. So this is what you see over the duration of a generation.
I don't know, that light's shining in that window just right. You sure this isn't
there's certain elements. I mean, if you look at the textures of the screens closely, you'll notice that a lot of the textures are pretty flat. But it's the lighting, image quality, and depth of field that really has seen a boost over the first game. And I mean, that's a lot of natural progression. Yes. This would be a title that, if it is something that gets Switch enhanced for the Pro, that it's going to be a lovely game on that hardware. But we shouldn't overlook the fact that it's just a really sharp looking game on the current Switch that we own, and something to be excited about. And hopefully the discussion can go back to the quality of the game, like overall for everybody. Everyone's focus is, is this Pro? Talk about the quality of the game. And that's a big compliment to the developers. Yeah. Is that they showed you base Switch assets and people are like, this has to be a Pro game, but this also isn't new. We saw this happen with Monster Hunter Rise, where everyone's like, this looks too good for the Switch. It was on the Switch. Yeah. It happened with Splatoon 3, where people saying, well, they must be showing us the Pro version. No, it was still a current Switch.
Yeah, I heard that on the Nate the Hate podcast. I heard that. Yeah.
If you also listened to the Nate the Hate podcast, you would have heard that we predicted Mario Rabbids 2 with a Galaxy theme.
Seems like you knew something there, Mochi.
I was going to say. You also said Hellblade 2 tomorrow, right?
No Hellblade 2 tomorrow.
Come on, Nate.
You said it could be after the show.
Didn't you say Perfect Dark? You said Perfect Dark gameplay?
I said no Perfect Dark. No Perfect Dark. If people listen to the Microsoft one, we actually give you the bad news right up front.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure you said Fable. I think Jordan. Did he say Fable?
Said no,
I think he said Fable for sure.
I'm pretty sure he said.
He said Hellblade 3 was going to be teased as well.
Hellblade 3?
Yeah.
Shit, I meant to say 4.
Senua's recovery. That's what Hellblade.
That's a Spawncast.
Senua goes to the grocery store.
Yeah, I was going to say Senua's therapy.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God.
Okay. So Ubisoft presentation was pretty much boiled down to, for a lot of people, 2 announcements.
Mario Rabbids.
What about Avatar? Do you guys have any thoughts? I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier. Any thoughts on Avatar before we move on? They showed some of it, but I mean, like, it was
Should I watch that movie?
A cinematic trailer. Yeah, you should watch the movie.
I liked it.
But like, I mean, it was a cinematic trailer. It's gonna be first person, I guess, and Snowdrop engine.
Wait. I think that yes, they did show the first. Did they say confirm the whole? It's going to be only first person?
No, because I mean, you could technically ride around on stuff and go third. I mean, it could be a mixture.
It needs to be a mixture. If it's all first person, I will still play it, but I'm gonna be outie. If it's
I agree with OJ. Like, if we're gonna be like on a Banshee and stuff, I want to be able to see everything around me, like as it's happening and stuff like that, or if there's like certain activities you can do. The other thing I will say though is because like how unique and pretty when the movie first came out was, like everything is, in harmony with each other. Everything is so flowy and kind of magical feeling. Like the game, I didn't know much about the PS3 game. I guess people were talking about back in 2009.
The 360 Wii PS.
Yeah, I never got to play that, and I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say they like it. Some people said they don't.
It came out in 2009.
Only 2009?
That's crazy.
I played the game back then. I
remember that game came out.
It sucks, but
it wasn't very good.
Things about it, but it's bad. It's just not a good game. But there's some good things like redeeming qualities about it.
But I think with this one is like, especially with video games the way they've been now, is like the world is definitely going to need to feel interactive. It's going to need to feel like there's multiple things you can do and like be part of the landscape versus just be like, oh, go here, pick this up, or go here, interact with this one thing. Like I feel like there's going to need to be a lot of freedom. So I feel like for me, I'm excited about it, but I'm going to have high expectations just because of how like, for me, magical that world felt first watching it as a kid.